topic of adding and subtracting rational. It says here, what is the difference of two rational expressions in simplest form? State any restrictions. So I'm going to highlight, you have to find the LCD, or you have to write this in factored form, and you have to write this denominator in factored form. So, I have x squared minus 2x, and I'm writing this in factored form, so it's going to be x times x minus 2. And the other denominator is 2x minus 4. So we have a 2 that's in common. So we have x minus 2. So simply I just factored there. I just factored. Now to find the LCD, you're going to look at each factor and you're going to use the factor that comes up. You're going to use the factor and how many times it comes up the most. Okay, so for example, x. So x only comes up once, so you're going to use x. And then 2 only comes up once, so you're going to use it. So your LCD is going to be 2x. Now you see x minus 2 and x minus 2. It just comes up once, so you're just going to use it once. So it's x minus 2. So that's going to be our common denominator for our two fractions. So here are the two fractions that we're talking about. And what I like to do is I like to write them vertically. So I have x plus 2 over x times x minus 2. And then the other one is x plus 2 over 2 times x minus 2. Now we've already found the lowest common denominator. This is what they both can go into. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write it in a different color. Ultimately, we want the fraction to have this common denominator, both fractions. Remember that when you were adding and subtracting fractions early on, when you were learning it, you know that you have to have the common denominator. So there is our common denominator. I'm going to highlight. This is our common denominator. Unfortunately, this denominator does not look the same. It looks similar, but it's not the same. So I got to multiply, or I need to change it so it can look like the fraction having the same denominator. So if I look at the first rational, or the first fraction, I have a 2, I have a 2. I have an x minus 2, I have an x minus 2. The only thing is missing is the x. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to multiply my denominator, my existing denominator, times x, so I can get 2x times x minus 2. And whatever you do to the denominator, you have to also do to the numerator. So you have x times x times 2. So you have x squared plus 2x. Now the other fraction, we have x and we have x minus 2. So we have an x here, we have an x here, we have an x minus 2, and we have an x minus 2. So what's missing is a 2. So you got to multiply by 2. So we're going to have to do the distributive property. So we have 2x plus 4. Now you notice that we have the same denominator. So now we're able to, in this case, subtract. So it's 2x plus 4. It's 2x plus 4. And you're subtracting x squared plus 2x over 2x times x minus 2. So this is what we're left with. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify here. So I have 2x plus 4 minus x squared minus 2x. And what I did here is I distributed the negative. We have a negative times x squared, and then we have a negative times 2x over the denominator, which is 2x times x minus 2. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and simplify the numerator. So we know that 2x minus 2x is 0. And you're left with 4 minus x squared over 2x times x minus 2. And I really don't like to have 4 minus x squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor a negative. So I'm going to have a negative 4 plus x squared over 2x times x minus 2. And you know that when you turn it around like that, you're going to have a negative, and I'm going to have x squared minus 4 over 2x over x minus 2. So now you notice that x squared minus 4, we can factor that. So it's going to be negative x plus 2, x minus 2 divided by 2x times x minus 2. And x minus 2 divided by x minus 2 is 1. And so this becomes, the final factor is x plus 2 over 2x, where x can't be 0 and x cannot be 2.